T26 originated as a hybrid between T19 and British Vickers. The T26 was first produced by Bolshevik factory in Leningrad, the only one with equipment and significant experience, having recently mass-produced the T18. The primary production of single-turret T26 began in 1933. The USSR developed 53 versions of T26, including flamethrower tanks, combat engineer vehicles, remotely controlled tanks, self-propelled guns, artillery tractors and armored carriers. 23 of these were series produced, other were experimental models. T26 was produced in masses. Over 10,000 tanks were made. In February 1941, the last T26 left factory number 174. The production lines were converted to a more complex T50, but still managed to build spare parts, armor kits, turrets, and converted about 130 T26s as the flamethrowing versions. They also repaired around 846 T26s in active duty. This made T26 the most produced tank of 1930s. This tank alone made the Red Army, by far, the biggest armored force the world had ever seen. Even in the summer of 1941, German armor was overwhelmed by a 4-to-1 ratio, and the panzers would soon be confronted on a daily basis with swarms of such light tanks. The 1938 version was virtually unchanged, except for a few things that had to be changed, such as use of buggy whip antennas or use of vertically stabilized TOP-1 telescopic gun sight. The Soviet gun, the 19K model 1932, was supplied with 122 rounds. Secondary armament consisted of frontal coaxial 7.62 DT machine gun. The machine gun was the tank version of DP-27, with the version issued to armored units was known as DT. The 19K 45mm gun fired anti-tank rounds with a velocity of 820 meters per second, but a supply of traditional high explosive rounds were also carried. The crew consisted of 3 men, driver, gunner and commander. The USSR sold around 281 to 297 tanks to the Republican Party during the Spanish Civil War. The T-26 absolutely dominated battlefields. It showed to be extremely effective against German and Italian tanks and tankettes. The use of T-26 in Finland showed just how outdated the T-26 was becoming. Finns, with excellent anti-tank guns and clever infantry tactics, totally butchered Soviet tanks. This triggered acceleration in tank design, which led to the next generation. Finland captured around 200 T-26s of all versions, which were refurbished and pushed back into service. The T-26 showed to be superior to the Panzer I and II, but they were no match for Panzer III and IV, which formed the main part of every panzer division. During the early stage of Operation Barbarossa, the Soviets lost thousands of T-26s, and not only due to enemy action. With the chaos following the German swift advance creating large pockets, many broke down or were immobilized because of lack of spare parts, fuel, or poor maintenance.